Hello, welcome to another episode of Executive Suite. I'm Thomas Braun, your host, and today we have Gary Surdam from Illuminate. And it's a fascinating company that's going to help parents. If you have children or you're thinking about having children, you're probably going to want to watch this. Gary, please, can you give us a summary of your company, what your mission is?
Hi, thank you, Thomas. I'm actually an educator. I've been an educator for over 30 plus years. And there's nothing more exciting than to watch the eyes of a student light up when they finally get it. When all of a sudden everything comes together and they understand the concepts I've been teaching. Now, what we call those illuminating moments. When the child's mind just illuminates, when their face, you can see it in their eyes, you can see it in their face, that they finally understand the concept I'm teaching them. So what we did is we developed um, a mobile app that is going to give students those opportunities or those illuminating moments. We use AI technology along with emotional intelligence and personalized learning to give students those illuminating moments. And I don't know about you, but I've had times when I was going through school when I didn't understand what the teacher was teaching, and it took me hours or days to finally get that concept if I ever did. What we have developed is we've looked at the way a student learns their learning style. We looked at the grade level that they are at, whether, right now in America, 68% of students are below grade level in math and science and language arts. And so AI takes all of that data and all of the information, puts it together, and sends the content to the student so that they get those illuminating moments where you finally understand. And I remember there's times where I just can't get it. Then all of a sudden it clicks. All of a sudden those illuminating moments happen. And so that's what our product is. We call it Illuminate because we want those illuminating moments to happen in a child's mind. We want them to happen more than one or two times throughout the day. We want them to happen constantly because the content is given to them just the right way.
Okay, so how does the app work? Does the parent use it or does the child use it?
Great question. Great question. Because we have phase one and phase two. Right now, we're in phase one. Phase one is where parents and children get together and they start to learn. Because I'm a strong believer that our parents are our first and most important teachers in the lives of their children. And so, how do we promote that? We give the app to our parents. Right now, it's a free app. Eventually you'll be turned into a subscription base app where they'll be purchasing more of the bells and whistles, but right now it's a free app. So what the parent does is goes on the app and says, I want to get a push notification every Monday at 6 p.m. and every Saturday at 10 a.m. because the parent knows that they will be with the child at that particular moment. And the first thing that the push notification does is it gives a parent an affirmation. As parents, sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's really tough, and we sometimes get down on ourselves because we think that we're not really doing a good job as parenting, but we need to really give our parents that affirmation that what they're doing is changing the lives of their children, but also the future of their children and their grandchildren's to come. And so we give them an affirmation. Then it goes, okay, here's an activity. Click on the button and open up the activity. So the activity may be building responsibility, building honesty, building communication within our children. And so they click on it, and there's 3 steps in every activity. Step one, step two, step three. And on step three, we tell them, put your phone down and do this with your child. Now, we even take it a step further. We take it a step further and we say, okay, if you have a child between 3 and 5 years old, this is how you adapt what we just gave you. if you have a child 9 to 10, the 11, then this is what you do. So it's designed for each parent. And so that gives them a great opportunity. So that's phase one. And phase one is going to go on for about 18 months. And as we're developing phase two, which is the more personalized learning that is combining the parent, the child, and the teacher, and giving those illuminating moments to the child by using AI technology.
Okay. So what's the age range that you're targeting?
Right now, it's three to 18. And again, it's for the parents. And so the parents, it's sometimes you think about an 18-year-old. What does an 18-year-old want to do with their parent? But it was kind of funny because years ago, I did a presentation at a conference. I did a lot of work with University of Tennessee, and I did a presentation. And probably about 6 months later, I was at another school, and th the staff member said to me, "I used your technique." And I said, "Were you at the conference?" She goes, "No, but a friend of mine was at the conference, and they took your I took your example." And what that was is basically I have a book called Cooking with Poppy, in which I build my relationship with my kids, and at the same time, we did what I love best is to cook. And so I said to my 18-year-old, "Hey, you want to help me cook?" And at first he said, but she said, now is such a beautiful time for my son and myself to really spend time together in the kitchen and really communicate in a positive way. So our students, our children, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, they still want that. And sometimes as parents, we tend to think, oh, they don't need that, but in actuality, they do. So it goes from age 3 to 18.
Okay. Because I was wondering, I've got my youngest child is about to turn 15,
Mhm,
and so of course, like most teenagers, he just sits there looking at his phone, um, usually YouTube, I
mhm.
guess. And
Yes.
if he's not doing that, he wants to play a video game. If
Mhm.
he's not doing that, he wants to watch anime on television.
Okay.
Um, so so I was gonna ask you, what do you do with teenagers and of course teaching them how to cook's a valuable life skill too.
Right, right, and, it's kind of funny because right now my children, my youngest is in her, last year at law school. They all know how to cook because that is something I taught them. So if you have a passion that it may be gardening, it may be working on a car, it may be cooking like myself, kinda introduce it to your son in a very how would you say, so the child doesn't really think that you're trying to do something, that basically you just want to share part of your life, and just kind of roll up your sleeves and get together and work with your son in a non-threatening way and just kind of build that. But with our app, basically we give suggestions to parents on, okay, if your 15-year-old is doing this, then here are some suggestions that you can do. The other thing is that when we get into the purchasing of the subscription, which will be in about a week from now, they will have a library of activities. So let's say you want to build communication with your child, then you can go to the library and find an activity that you would be successful, that you think your son or daughter would be interested in doing, or you want to build responsibility. So we will have the library available to these parents to be able to pick and choose what activity they want to work with their child.
Yeah. So how do you get the kids to actually do these things? Because I one thing I don't understand, like when I was growing up, I'll just give you an example, okay?
Mhm,
If if my father didn't shoot and he didn't own a gun or anything, but if he did and he said, "Hey, do you want to go to the shooting range?" I'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I want to go."
mhm,
My kids, you say, "Hey, you want to go to the shooting range, learn how to, target shoot." I don't know,
Huh,
like, and it's just like, I don't understand because I would have been all over it, right?
right.
So it seems like kids today, they're just kind of apathetic.
Huh.
Maybe like they don't seem to be as grateful for what
Mhm.
their parents are doing for them. Is that just, am I wrong, or is there a trend there?
You're not wrong. What we tend to really encourage our parents is to find out more about their child, more about their likes and dislikes, more about I know what I like and I know what really turns me on when I do something, but understanding where our students are, where our children are before we start introducing something now. So maybe, like you said, he wouldn't be interested in guns, but what would he be interested in? What would be the one that would trigger that, oh yeah, I want to do that, yes, I want to be involved in that. So being able to do that, and so by by the communication activities that we do in our mobile app, it's building that strength, that bond between you and your child so that you know what their interests are and you know what their dislikes are. So you're able to introduce it there, and that's something that's very important. I was on a almost a, Shark Tank-like, um, show, and it's airing this Thursday, and one of the investors on the Shark Tank show basically said, "Okay, well, what keeps a parent from going to chat gpt to find an activity that basically that they want to work on?" I said, well, what we do differently is we not only have the library of activities for them to do, but we also have resources. I've written 3 books on parenting, and they can go to that and find some articles. I have some other parenting professionals that have short little videos and short little blogs that parents can get some ideas. But we also have a community where if I have a 5-year old, I can connect to other 5-year olds either in my own area or across the world, and we can start having a communication. We can start talking about, okay, well, my son, I did this you engaged in it, and we can have a conversation about what works and what doesn't work so that we build. It used to be, and I know that, I haven't heard this in a long time, but it takes a village to raise a child. And so part of the community is everyone working together and kind of coming up with different ways to be able to reach the needs of our students. And the last thing that is involved in our subscription is a once a week, parent professional doing a webinar that's engaging where everyone can ask questions, and we have a lot of great stuff going on. So it's more than just picking up an activity, it's that whole community and learning, as we move along.
Yeah. So my personal experience really was that with small children, they're easy to engage with. They want to engage with their parents.
Mhm.
They want to do things, and they'll be perfectly happy to. It's really the teenagers who can become sort of withdrawn, very emotional and surly, a little bit nasty, actually, sometimes. And so I think that's where the challenge is. Tell me more about what your app will do. For that age group.
What it does for that age group is kind of giving, parents some hints. Like, one hint very easily is your child's kinda hanging around you for a little bit. Not that they're being really engaging or exciting. They may just be you may even feel that they have that anger or something, but they're hanging around you. And so that's a good key that they want to have a conversation. But at sometimes as parents, we think, "Oh, he's just angry." And I I I I don't even wanna bring anything up. But if we just very subtly just do a little action or something that's gonna engage them, parents will find that they'll start picking up and they'll start having a conversation. You can't go from feeling the child's angry to all of a sudden in the next 2 hours, you have this beautiful relationship and this beautiful conversation. It takes time and it takes patience. And I'm a strong believer that kids don't come with a parent manual, basically. There's not a book that's basically going to change the whole way that we teach, but just giving them a little strategies here and there that is going to help us get to the next level. And the other thing is that there's no such thing as a perfect parent. Because sometimes if we believe that we are a perfect parent, something's going to happen and knock us down, and so that we understand that we're not. So, and then sometimes comparing ourselves as parents to others, because other parents may look like they're doing the most incredible job parenting, but down deep inside, maybe they're not. So never compare ourselves to other parents.
Yeah. Is your app using, AI?
It's using a combination of AI. I personally have written a lot of the activities that are going in there, writing also uh, the affirmations that go in there. I'm actually a professor of global education, and parent. One of my focuses is on parenting and really building them up. I've done it for a number of years, so I've written a lot of the content that's in there. But it also what it takes is like AI will look at, because at the end of each one of the activities, the parent has an opportunity to evaluate how it went. Was there engagement? Was it difficult for you to use the this activity? And then what it does, AI will adjust it so that the next one that the parent receives is adjusted just a little bit, just to see, okay, how did that one work? There's also a journaling piece at the end of each one where it basically has the opportunity for parents to journal, okay, what transpired, what happened, and they can go on that. So the AI really adjusts that so that every time they get a new activity, it's adjusted to hopefully make it a little better experience for the parent and child.
Okay. So, let's, pivot a little bit. I just wanna ask you a little bit about the, company itself, the sort of your journey as a founder and what your plans are here. So, first of all, um, you've got this app. I'm guessing it'll be available on the iPhone and Android app
Yeah,
stores.
yeah.
And is it something they'll download for free and then subscribe to, or like what does the revenue model look like?
We actually use the Duolingo business model. And if you look at Duolingo, their annual income is around $934 million a year. Out of that income, 92.7% are free users. And they bring in 80 million dollars because they have advertisers that they you get the free app, but you have a little advertisement in there. The rest are those users that purchase to get the additional strategies and activities on their app. So we're using the same model. So our model is to offer for free, and it'll be free on the app stores. And then they will get one activity and one affirmation a day or whenever they choose to do that. Now, the activities are purposely made so that it's not a checkoff list that I finished it in 20 minutes with my child and we're done with it. It's more of it may take 2 or 3 or 4 days for you to do it, and maybe taking 20 minutes a day with the activity with your child, but we want it to be engaging and we want it to be purposeful in doing that. So that's how that works. And then they can choose to subscribe to whether it's an annual subscription or a monthly subscription, and be able to do that. So that's where the revenue comes in.
Okay. And, how are you going to scale this up? So do you have, like, a list of interested people, or, like, can people put their name down somewhere? How do you launch it?
Well, we're launching it. In fact, it's taken a little while. We're launching it. I believe the free app right now it's in Apple Store to be approved, which our developers have already gone through it, making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And then once it's approved, it will be on the store. We actually are very. I'm excited because on Thursday we have the showing that's coming out on this Shark Tank like show in which they'll have a QR code where that they can download and they can get to our website and be able to download the app. So we're excited about that. We're also doing some social media outreaches, getting involved there, doing some of our influencers, social media influencers, getting out that way. However, on my board, I have three superintendents that are school superintendents. They've been good friends of mine for a number of years. Our goal is to get our superintendents to be introduced to our program and then get it out to their parents and get it out in that fashion. I was one of the founders of the Association of Latino Superintendents back in 2003. And I have a large network of leaders of schools and school districts in which we're going to promote it out that way. So we have two, I guess you would say, two strategies, B2B and B2C. B2C is just social media getting out to consumers, and then B2B is going directly to the school districts and the private schools and getting them to buy into it. And basically, if it's free, basically they can just promote it and then they can choose to do that. Or we in actuality, what we want them to do, let's say we have right now a online school system that they, once our app is out, they will purchase a an app for each one of their parents. So that's revenue already scheduled to come in. So that is basically our business plan.
Nice partnership. So,
Yes.
'cause it's really tough when you're business to consumer. With the, business to business companies, they 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 have sort of a big advantage in that you can get a list of, like, if you're gonna sell something to dentists, you get a list of every dentist in America and start
Yes.
contacting them one way or another, right?
Mhm.
Um and you can also partner with these industry associations. So I've had a couple of guests who have really successfully partnered with an industry association that might have 11,000 members of the hospitality industry, and they have a hospitality related product, and they partner with this industry association that puts it out there to their 11,000 members, and they end up being sort of a like an official supplier or something like that. And then you have the unofficial partnerships where people are just connected the way you are, because they've been in that sector for a long time and they know a lot of people. So
Right.
it sounds like you're kind of in the middle of that, where you do have a plan and some associations and partnerships that can help you. And I think that's really important. Um, so, what are your projections? Like, is this the sort of thing where you think you could get like 10 million downloads, or what? Like what are you thinking this could be?
Now we basically have a 5-year plan.
Mhm.
And with our plan basically is an exit strategy for the fifth year. We want to be able to get it up to the point where we have 2 or 3 million subscribers that are users in our program or in our app. But it's going to take step by step. So our first year we are scheduling or we're forecasting 150,000 users on our platform, and then just doubling it and moving forward each year after that. And so, along with that, the users basically, we're going to we want to get to the point where we're not going out and trying to find companies that want to partner with us. Partners are coming to us because they see the importance of it. One idea that we're coming up with is to make it like a gamify kind of technology, where parents are kind of almost like incentive to try to get to, whether it's points, whether it's an
They
award,
get a score. Mhm.
score. Or the other thing is that, let's say we get a Walmart or a Target score that basically says, we'll partner with you, and when students reach a certain level, whatever it may be, maybe we see improvement in test scores, or maybe we see improvement um in engagement, whatever it may be, because we're including the school system in there. Maybe they get a $50 gift certificate or
A
something
reward.
that's going to promote that. Because if we don't give that incentive, we're going to probably miss a lot of the potential
Oh, yeah.
customers there. Yeah, and so that
Well,
that
you
Mhm.
might also miss out on the potential of the app itself, right? Because
Yes.
people have to use it, and it would be a good way to get kids to use it. I can tell you, if you could partner with Pokemon and, the kids get some kind of, new Pokemon character every time
Yeah,
they complete an
exactly.
activity, that would be the
Exactly.
ideal world, and you'd have
Yeah.
10,000,000 users in one day.
And then
So,
also, I don't know if it's possible, because I'm sure when you pay for an app like Pokemon or whatever it may be, that you have to
mhm,
buy credits.
yeah,
So maybe part of that whole thing is that the students receive 5 credits or 10 credits. I don't know if the
that they can use somewhere else, yeah.
But what we need to do is make sure that now when we give them credits, no longer are they going to be involved in the education. They're now playing the game. So it's a kind of like a balance that we need to look at. But all of those things are important.
Yeah, and speaking of gamifying, what kids love about these Pokemon trading cards is the gambling, which is kind of, it's something that's concerning, but,
Mhm.
that's what keeps them going. They don't it's like, when you and I were children, people collected sports cards, be it hockey cards or baseball cards, and the excitement was opening that pack, and you might get a rookie card or whatever, right? And
Right.
that's the kind of feeling they have now, but with Pokemon or some
Exactly.
other such cartoon game, right?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so
So the
now,
potential is out there. There's a
yeah,
lot of ideas, and I have
hmm,
a great team that I put together that are really just forward thinkers, out of the box thinkers. That we're just constantly coming up with new ways and new strategies to reach the market.
yeah. But on the other hand, then that's called feature creep, where you're never finished your product because you're always people are always adding things to it, right? So
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah,
yeah, I did notice you have a lot of looks like you have a lot of programmers from USC. Um, like,
that
how
is
many? Like 10 or 12 people on your
right.
website?
That was That was a out of the box thinking kind of thing that took place, because, with a startup company, the budget you have is basically whatever's coming out of my pocket as a founder, and so it could be very, very limited. So I was first trying to find a developer that was talented and knew what they're doing, but then they were asking outrageous amount of
Uh-huh.
salary. Okay, so then I thought, okay, well, let me try to entice a really great developer by giving them equity.
Mhm.
That didn't work either, because then they were like, no, I need to work for a paycheck or something. So then the idea came to me, well, now why not find interns that are getting their master's degree in computer science, and let's try that. So we brought a lot of them on board, and they are just phenomenal. They are doing some great stuff. I also have transitioned a handful of them into more of an equity partner with us, and they are committed. Most of them are international students that just really have a work ethics that is just incredible. So I have front end developers, back end developers. I have UX designers. I have a couple um, interns. Well, a couple of them are now um, equity partners, where their focus, what they're basically graduated in, was AI technology. And so that's a couple of them there. And then one of them is a data analysis. So as the app starts going forward, that data analysis specialist is going to help us to really gauge on how well we're doing and what are some changes we need to make. So I brought in a great team of great interns.
Well, that sounds good. Now, it just occurred to me, here's one extra feature would be wonderful is if you could figure out how to make kids go to bed on time. Um, Maybe some kind of a reward, I don't know, and then of
Trying
course
to-
monitor them to make sure they aren't up looking at their phone at 4 in the
yeah.
morning. But
And that's probably
yeah,
another app because
yeah.
the market, if you look at the ed tech market, it's
Hmm.
over $400 billion.
Wow.
Most of the apps that are out there are those apps that monitor students, where they're at, what they're doing online, and all of that. Ours is a little, our focus is a little different. It's bringing parents together with their children.
Well, I've gotta look into this a little bit more then and see
Mhm.
what's available because maybe there are things that I wish I had, and I didn't even know that they're on the App Store.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, yes, yes.
now before we wrap this up, do you have any, closing remarks you want to make before we say goodbye?
Eh, Thank you so much. I just appreciate having the opportunity to share the vision that we have. And the vision is I was teaching an online class with some students in Thailand, and I gave them an engineering problem. They were wrestling with how do we do it? It was a group activity. All of a sudden, the face of this young boy just lit up, and he understood within seconds, and he gave us the answer. That's what our app is all about. Getting those opportunities for students just to get it. I know I was taking a class at a university, and it was on business. It was a business school, and it took me like three days to try to figure out the formula. But when I got it, it was so rewarding. So what our app is doing is bringing together our students so that they can have those illuminating moments. But if you look at our logo, there are three circles. Those three circles represent parent, child, and teacher. When we get them together, we will come up with success. Our students will be successful. My goal is to get it around the world and provide an opportunity for students to be successful in a global economy in the future. And by giving them the tools, giving parents the tools, teachers the tools, and most importantly, giving the student the tools to just embrace learning. And our name Illuminate, there's two O's in there, and they're the O's of infinity. Once a child starts to learn and to love to learn because it clicks, learning goes on forever. And so that's where we're at, helping students to really enjoy and love the learning process. Our app is called Illuminate. You can go to our website, which illuminate.net. And then also we have Instagram, which Illuminate app. And we also have a TikTok, which is also Illuminate app. And within a couple of days, parents can go on to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store and download the mobile app. And we're looking forward to get more parents successfully working with their students.
That sounds fantastic, and I wish you the best of luck with your launch.
Thank
We'll
you,
be
Thomas.
watching to see if you make it to the 2 or 3 million mark. That would be fantastic. And and when you get to that point, if you don't get bought out or exit, you could do a crowdfunding and you'd have 2 million potential investors waiting. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually a very powerful thing. So thanks again for coming on. Everybody else, thank you for watching. And until next time, we'll see you then. Bye for now.
Thank you, Thomas.